When I was 6, I had one of the greatest adventures of my life. My dad took me on a backpacking trip into the North Georgia mountains. And at 2 a.m., a tornado ripped through the forest. There were branches snapping, hail and torrential downpour was coming down, and we hunkered in to a boulder outcropping for hours to let it pass. It left an impression on me, and it was one that I wanted to give to my 9-year-old daughter. I found my opportunity this last week. My wife was going out of town on a girls' trip. No one could say no to me. So I rushed up to my daughter and I said, Robin, I've got a surprise for you. We're going to go on an adventure. We're going backpacking into the woods. We're going to do this and this and this and yada, yada, yada. And I kept talking. It was all about me. And I didn't pay attention to what was happening with her. As I went on and on, a deadpan look came over her. And this little 9-year-old, her little hands go to her hips. And as I stop talking, she looks up at me and she goes, Dad, we are never going to do that. In a blink of an eye, that 9-year-old had turned into a teenager. I was blindsided. I didn't know what was going on. And the only words that could come to my head were no daughter of mine. What I didn't do is I didn't take the moment to realize that this was an awesome opportunity for indirect leadership, to take a softer approach to this, to not face it head on and instead embrace that no. Get curious, figure out what yes would look like, and put my ego aside. Instead, I did what most of us do when we hear no. We go into sales mode because we want it to be a yes. And I started telling her all the great things about camping, about the marshmallows and the hike in. And as I went on and on again, those little Converse All-Stars started sinking into the ground as she dug in her heels. And it got almost to the point where I said, pack your bag, we're going. I had to back off from the situation. I came back to it an hour later and I said to her, Robin, what is it about camping that makes you not want to go? Notice I didn't say why. Why can be threatening. And she thought about it. She opened up a little bit and she said, well, first, every time we go camping, it takes forever to get there. All right, you go closer. I'm thinking that. Second of all, every time we go, the bugs eat me alive. They love my blood. I'm like, check, bug spray, got it. And third, I don't want a bunch of dad farts in the tent. I'm like, all right, cool. First two, got it. Then I got a little deeper with it. I said, what is it? What would a great camping trip look like? She goes, well, first off, we wouldn't go. What else? It would have jelly beans and mac and cheese. That's pretty good. Turns out, everybody, Shields has a whole wall of freeze-dried meals and 2 types of mac and cheese. And they have a candy section with a wall of jelly beans in there. 20 minutes later, 2 types of mac and cheese, a pound of jelly beans, and you would have thought I had Amelia Earhart in the backseat. That afternoon, we got to the trailhead, and I'm excited. I'm throwing on my rucksack. I'm trailblazing ahead. I'm going to show her all my skills. And I hear this little voice coming from behind me. And it says, Dad, check out this spot. It's perfect. Guys, it's like 12 feet outside of the car. And I'm thinking to myself, no, absolutely not. And it almost comes out of my mouth. I almost torpedo everything that we had done, all the trust that we had built. I had to step back. And I said, you know what? Why don't you lead the way? You pick out the camp spot. And we checked out that one and another one, and we hit a dead end, and we retraced our steps like 3 times. And an hour and a half later, we finally got to the most gorgeous camp spot. She picked out a little grassy knoll overlooking a lake. It was perfect. Next morning at 5 a.m., we packed up everything. We started heading out, and I reflected back to myself. This experience, this is the best demonstration of leadership that I've had in months. Better than anything at work, better than anything in my marriage. And I realized that I had accepted that no. I had let it happen. I had let her feel secure from that no. Let her have a position of stability. I had gotten curious, figured out what yes looked like, and I had put my ego aside during this whole experience. And as we walked down, we were eating handfuls of jelly beans, laughing the whole way, hadn't dodged a tornado, hadn't been able to fend off a cougar with a sack of marshmallows, but we did have an awesome experience together. And I would challenge everybody in here, this week, when you hear a no, let it happen. Get curious about it, put that ego aside, and you may also have great compromise. Thank you.
It's good.